Hi, welcome to the Pop Filler Podcast. My name is Philip. I was going to jump in with the mailbag, but I don't think I have any mail this week. Wait, what's that sound? Oh, hey, look, it's Clark the Roomba. Do you have some mail for us? Oh, watch over that wall. Okay, you almost got it. Here, I'll come and meet you, okay? Alright, thanks, Clark. Cheer up, buddy. You were a big help today. Alright. Let's see what Clark brought us. This one is from Greg D. He says, I see a lot of people claiming the visual effects in Rolantis were the best they've ever seen. People especially keep watering at the mouth over all the digitally rendered cityscapes and vistas scattered throughout the film. Excuse me, but that's not true, and I'll tell you why in one word. Birds. There were no birds in any of the exterior establishing shots. How can a landscape or a city look real unless we see a little flock of birds flying across the sky, or taking off from a bell tower, or fleeing from a cluster of trees? Without birds, I can't get a sense of scope or scale, and I don't feel grounded in the world I'm being dropped in as a viewer. It's a taint that radiates through the whole film and ruins it as far as I'm concerned. If they had just put in a few birds flying when we get establishing shots of the Letextra Plains or the old Mylopian capital, I would have called the movie nearly perfect, but no birds. Therefore, this movie is steaming garbage. Thanks for your passion, Greg. I like birds too. Alright, this isn't in relation to a letter, but it was something I was thinking about. You know when a character reminds you of someone you know so much that it's hard to separate? Well, I just watched The Last Ditch Opera, and Little Les reminds me so much of my old friend Jimmy, who I used to hang out with on the playground in 2nd and 3rd grade. I have no idea where he is now, but seeing the movie and Les got me thinking about memories of Jimmy that I didn't realize I still had. I remember he always had this big Super Bowl he always carried around at recess, and we would just hang out and bounce it around on the pavement until the bell rang. It was red and blue with a big white star on it. Jimmy loved that ball. And thinking back, he loved to laugh too, which is probably what I really remember most. You could say anything. It didn't matter if it was a joke. It could be objectively not funny at all, and he would still kind of laugh at it anyway. And it really got old. It was sort of confusing, and it bothered me. I remember wondering if there was something wrong with Jimmy. He was just always laughing. I don't miss that. At all. Hope you're well, Jimmy. Dear Diarrhea, this is a long one. Recently, a friend encouraged me to try out his virtual reality headset. He owns two. One is for a gaming console and one is for a computer, so he let me borrow the console version. He was especially excited about me trying out a game that lets people hang out and engage in different virtual games and activities. I normally don't like games that involve social interaction, but I like hanging out with my friend, and his infectious enthusiasm was enough to get me, if not excited, at least willing to try it out. 2.5 weeks after he let me borrow the VR headset, I finally got around to setting it up. Wrapped in a tangled mess of cables, I put in some earbuds, put on the headset, grabbed the hand controllers and powered everything on. Setup was awkward. I had trouble setting up the camera that tracks my movements and then recreates them virtually. I think I had the camera placed too low and pointing upward, so I probably looked like a floating corpse's torso drifting above the virtual world. When I felt ready enough, I called my friend to let him know I was prepared to try out some light activities with him. He helped me get into a virtual room where we first tried disc golf. Since I was so high off the ground, I couldn't even reach the discs on the grass, so that failed. He then pulled me into a laser tag game where I fumbled around with different weapons I didn't know how to control. My score never left 0 as I slowed down our group's movement through the course at every opportunity. My avatar was repeatedly shot dead by alien robots, and we finally mercifully lost. The other players abandoned my friend and I in the now empty laser tag arena. Feeling frustrated and a little itchy under the arms, I was thinking it was time for something a little more low-key with less socializing and skill required. That's when my friend pulled me into an already-in-progress game of Pictionary/charades, where I was immediately whisked onto stage, front and center, while a group of yelling strangers stared at me from behind little lecterns. My friend laughed and told me to pick up a card with a clue on it, then start drawing the clue with my little paint gun. As I began looking around for the cards that I was supposed to grab from, a loud buzzer went off in my ear, and I was swooped away from the front of the stage and dropped behind my own lectern so I could watch the next player draw a card. I spent the next few minutes watching as participants drew things out like bumblebees and canoes in midair for us to try and guess. At least a couple of the players were children who just screamed a lot. One player, a man with an English accent, kept miming various sex acts with the other players, or would get them to watch as he repeatedly made his lectern disappear after saying the magic words, "Sim Sim Salabim." I wasn't sure who, but someone would also occasionally blow Smash Mouth's All-Star into a melodica, hurting everyone's ears. That player was forced out of our Lord of the Flies Pictionary game. As time went on, I got a little more comfortable with the controls, but as soon as I felt I had the hang of something, I would then fumble during my turn and accidentally teleport myself across the room or draw something that meant nothing to anyone, including myself. Looking back, this must be what it feels like to learn how to ride a bike in the middle of a cocktail party, or what it might be like to perform surgery in the wave pool at Splash Kingdom. My mind and body had gotten tired. My friend later told me he could sense my listlessness and see my vacant expression, even on my bald-headed cartoon avatar. That obvious, huh? Confused on how to exit the charades room, I just turned off the VR headset completely, got a glass of water, and went to bed. All in all, I can confidently say that the world of virtual reality is a truly magical realm of possibilities. It will also put you face to face with every one of your own insecurities and personal shortcomings, but in virtual reality. Until next time, Diarrhea. Oh, I should mention, a couple of days later, I inexplicably felt compelled to try the game again. This time, I set up a private game of virtual disc golf. It was a nice, relaxing experience. I didn't do very well, but I also didn't get anxious about slowing down other players' virtual fun. I think I like disc golf now. Diarrhea, did you know I live exactly 1 block away from an actual disc golf course? Maybe I'll try it out someday soon. Or not, there's usually a lot of people out there. Alright, before wrapping things up, I've got a little music recommendation I'd like to make. Music, check it out. Okay, lastly, it's time for another household tip. We recently had some professional tree trimmers out to the house to trim and cut down a couple of trees. It was sort of sad because I like trees, but one was irresponsibly planted too close to the house, and one was planted too close to the fence in the back, where it constantly had its branches entangled in the power lines. My wife had the idea to try and save the stumps if possible, and use them for little tables outside on the back patio. The tree trimmers ended up giving us 3 trunk segments of varying degrees of levelness. So here's the tip. If you're having a tree cut down, try to save a segment of the trunk so you can use it as a little table. Bonus tip, you can also use the stump as a chopping block, as an elevated step in a backyard obstacle course, as a surface to paint a silly face on, or as a simple headstone. Bonus tip, if you do use one as a headstone, you should definitely paint a silly face on it. Okay, that'll bring us to the close of another Pop Filler. Thanks for listening, and remember, you'll be fine.